Hi everyone, it's Van. I hope you're okay and keeping well and having a nice Thursday so far. Today I'm going to try something different. I've been having to think about it the past few days and I'd like to try um, a new form of video, well, new form for me, um, called Author Spotlight, where I'll be talking about books I enjoy, authors I enjoy reading from, and the reasons why I enjoy the books, and a synopsis of the stories, and an overall, video of why I love these sort of stories and why I get enjoyment from reading, you know, from my favourite authors. So today I'm going to start off the series, like this little mini series trial, if you like, of favourite authors. I'm going to start off with a wonderful author named Elaine Thomson, or E.S Thomson, and she writes historical fiction. And this series I'm going to talk about today is called the Jem Flockheart series, and they are a wonderful series of books. So I'm going to start off with the first one, which is Beloved Poison. This is a wonderful start to the series of books and a fantastic introduction to Jem Flockheart herself. So a little snippet bio of E.S Thomson, if I'm allowed to, say it from the page of the book. E.S Thomson was born in Ormskirk, Lancashire. She has a PhD in the history of medicine and works as a university lecturer in Edinburgh. She was shortlisted for the Saltwater First Book Award and the Scottish Arts Council First Book Award. Elaine lives in Edinburgh with her two sons. I'll now give you a synopsis of what the first story is about. Ramshackle and crumbling, trapped in the past and resisting the future, St Saviour's Infirmary awaits demolition. Within its stinking wards and cramped corridors, the doctors bicker and fight. Ambition, jealousy, and hatred seethe beneath the veneer of professional courtesy. Always an outsider and with a secret of her own to hide, apothecary Jem Flockheart observes everything but says nothing. And then 6 tiny coffins are uncovered. Inside each are a handful of dried flowers and a bundle of mouldering rags. When Jem comes across these strange relics hidden inside the infirmary's old chapel, her quest to understand their meaning prizes open a long-forgotten past with fatal consequences. Now, if you enjoy Gothic, Victorian thrillers, I very much recommend Beloved Poison. It's a wonderful introduction to the world of Jem Flockheart and a fantastic introduction to the characters who you'll meet along the way. That's the first of the series. The second one is E.S Thomson, Dark Asylum, a Jem Flockheart novel. I'll now give you a synopsis of the book. 1851, Angel Meadow Asylum. Dr. Rutherford, principal physician to the insane, is found dead. His head bashed in, his ears cut off, his lips and eyes stitched closed. The police direct their attention towards Angel Meadows inmates, but to Jem Flockheart and Will Quatermain, The crime is an act of calculated retribution rather than of madness. To discover the truth, Jem and Will must pursue the story through the darkest corners of the city, from the depths of notorious rookery to the sordid rooms of London's brothels, the gallows, the graveyard, the convict fleet, and then back to the asylum. In a world where guilt and innocence, crime and atonement, madness and reason are bound by hypocrisy, ambition, and betrayal, Jem and Will soon find themselves caught in a web of dark secrets and hidden identities. Again, this is a fantastic gothic crime novel. Jem Flockheart is literally a woman in a man's world. She is an apothecarist. She is quite, she's kind of told basically to live by feminine standards at the time and not to be involved in crimes of any nature, like solving crimes of any nature, and basically informed to, mind herself and be a lady at a time, and basically sitting in embroidery rooms, sipping cups of Victorian broth and minding her manners and everything else. But she stands up for herself and she stands up for her profession, and she basically on her own terms stands up to the men of the day, and in regards to the medical field. And then we have Will Quartermain, who is a surveyor. His job is to survey and take notes and basically for like restructure, redevelopment, for the demolition of certain parts of London for greater progress, if you like. And he reluctantly, to begin with, finds himself in Jem's world, and he helps Jem solve these crimes, although his job initially is to survey and as I say, make notes, take drawings and things like that of sites in Victorian London town to be redeveloped for future progress. And it doesn't go quite according to plan when he finds himself in Jem's world and Jem's apothecary and helping her solve these crimes. But I think he enjoys it. He enjoys the challenge of Jem, I think. So that's Dark Asylum. Next up we have The Blood, What Secrets Lie Aboard. And this one says, a world of secrets, murder and betrayal lies behind the London waterfront. Summoned to the riverside by the desperate scribbled note of an old friend, Jem Flockheart and Will Quartermain find themselves on board the Seamen's Floating Hospital, an old hulk known only as the Blood, where prejudice, ambition and murder seethe beneath a veneer of medical respectability. On shore, a prostitute is found drowned in a derelict boatyard, and a man leaps to his death into the Thames, driven mad by poison and fear. The events are linked, but how? Caught in danger in the opium dens and brothels of the waterfront, certain that the blood lies at the heart of the puzzle, Jem and Will embark on a quest to uncover the truth. In a hunt that takes them from the dissecting tables of a private anatomy school to the squalor of the dockside mortuary, they find themselves involved in a dark and terrible mystery. Things start to get a little bit more darker from here in the world of Jem. Secrets and family history starts coming to light in regards to Jem, the apothecary, and why she is and who she is the way she is. So, yeah, this is the blood. Again, another wonderful part of the series. Next up we have Surgeons Hall. The dead will give up their secrets. Again, another beautiful cover. Gothic, stunning, enticing to pick up and read. It's like when you look at these covers and you're like, oh, you know you're going to be in for a good time. And you just want to delve into the book, into the next, sequence of events for Jem and Will. So this one says, while secret grips Corvus Hall, visiting the great exhibition to view the wax anatomical models of the famous but reclusive Dr. Silas Strangeway, Jem Flockheart and Will Quartermain find a severed hand perfectly dissected and laid out amongst the exhibits. Assuming it to be a prank by medical students, they return it to Dr. Strangeway, who works at Corvus Hall, a private anatomy school run by Dr. Alexander Crowe, once one of Edinburgh's most revered anatomists. Jem's persistence reveals that a body does indeed lie in the school's mortuary, minus its right hand. The body has no provenance. More macabre still, his face has been dissected, making identification impossible. All is not as it should be at Corvus Hall. Dr. Crowe's daughter, Lilith, visits the mortuary in the dead of night. Her twin sisters, Sorrow and Silence, one blind and one deaf, exert a malign influence over the students. Organs, freshly dissected, appear in the anatomical museum. Fear grips lecturers and students, even as something unseen binds them in the bloody pact of silence. In a mystery that ranges from the courts and winds of Birkenhead's Edinburgh to the dissecting tables of London's most notorious anatomy school, Jem and Will find that the past talks the present, and the dead will not give up their secrets easily. I'm trying to not give spoilers here, and I'm trying to keep it as vague as I possibly can, because these books need to be discovered and read by the readers themselves. I could talk all day why I enjoy the books as much as I do, but I'd like readers to discover them for themselves, and so I'm basically just keeping to the synopsis of what the story is about and not giving too much detail away, because if I started to do that I would give spoilers and I would ruin the endings of the books. So I'm trying to keep it my my views of each book as vague as I can, without again giving spoilers and things like that. But it goes without saying, the more you read these books, the more involved you are, the more that you want to, you want to spend more time in this world with Will and Jem. and it's fascinating, it's intriguing, it's, if you enjoy, not to bring other authors and things into it, if you enjoy like things like, or books or stories similar to Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson and things like that, um, you'll enjoy these. The dynamics between Will and Jem is quite, funny at times, but it's their partnership that seals the stories together, and how in tuned they are to each other. But I'll talk about a bit more at the end. So that's Surgeon's Hall. Next up we have Nightshade. In the poison garden, death is the only fruit. Again, these covers are absolutely beautiful. The artwork, the style is just stunning, and it really does suit, each cover really does suit the story the covers belong to. So that's that. London, 1851. Restless and bored after a long hot summer, apothecary and poison expert Jem Flockheart decides to redesign her physic garden. But plans are thrown into confusion when a man's skeleton is unearthed from beneath the deadly Nightshade. A small, childlike skeleton curled at his feet. The body bears evidence of knife wounds to its ribs and arms, and is accompanied by a collection of macabre objects: a brass bowl, a curious coin-like token, a set of tiny ivory skulls. The police claim the victim is too long buried for answers to be found, but for Jem, a corpse in her own garden is something that cannot be ignored. The plans to the garden, laid out some 40 years earlier, reveal a list of 5 names. When Jem and Will start asking questions, the murders begin. Each victim has a past connection with the physic garden. Each corpse is found with its jaw broken wide and its mouth stuffed with deadly nightshade. As they move closer to uncovering the truth, Jem Flockheart and Will Quartermain encounter a dark world of addiction, madness, power, and death that strikes the very heart of Jem's own history. This time, the poison is personal. Now, in this one, we delve further into Jem's history of who she is and why she is and why she does what she does. She is a little bit more vulnerable in this book compared to the others. She obviously has things she needs to keep silent about herself, and in more ways than one. But she, basically the physic garden, the apothecary, is her life, and she needs to keep a hold of the apothecary and the physic garden, because it's who she is, and these, as each book goes on, the themes do get darker, secrets are revealed. In each story there is an underlying thread that connects each of the books, and you do have recurring characters come into the books, and it's like a flow, like a flowing storyline, in places, as well as being unique stories in their own right. There is and are interconnected characters throughout. So that's Nightshade. And the last, and hopefully not least, book of the series so far is Death and Disease Form the Perfect Shroud for Murder. It's a fantastic little mini synopsis for the book Underground. Very much enjoyed all these stories, you know, as I said before. This one was really good. This one is basically about the series of London. And when I tell you, when I read this book, although in all the books what you read in the Jem Flockheart, you just feel that you're there, that you're living in that time, and that you know how hard it must have been living in those times. You know, we do take things for granted today, but back in, you know, Victorian times and that, it must have been a hard life, you know, for people. And one of the jobs that I know I couldn't have done was work in the tunnels and the sewers of London. You know, it must have been a hellish job at times. But, you know, I'll tell you now about the book. In the darkness, her face glimmered like a polished bone, white with a bluish tinge. Her lips were dry and cracked. I saw them move, a black tongue pass over them, as if she was trying to speak, but she made no sound. A plague is coming to London, dreaded more than the devil himself. Cholera, the Blue Death, spares no one. As fear grows across the city, Jem Flockheart and Will Quatermain are called to the bedside of a dead man, murdered and with his throat torn out in the back room of a brothel. When an innocent man is taken to Newgate, Jem and Will have until execution day to save him. The search for the identity of the corpse and the killer takes them to the gates of Blackwater Hall, home to the secretive and corrupt Quatermain family. With the approach of autumn, no one is safe, for the fog brings with it an evil and poisonous sickness, the perfect shroud for murder. When family secrets are prized out into the open, people begin dying. But who or what is the cause? Searching for answers, Jem and Will are driven underground to the passages and tunnels beneath the city's teeming streets. Here, their adversary proves to be more elusive and more deadly than ever. These are amazing books. I very much enjoy them. I very much love Elaine's style of writing. She writes very smooth, and her characters and their interconnecting lives are a joy to read, an absolute joy. As I said previously, Jem is really a fantastic character. She is a woman caught up in a man's world in a time where women were treated as nothing more than commodities, child bearers, cooks, cleaners, and to be seen and not heard, she is a beacon of light in the darkest of times. She's clever, she's articulate, she's intelligent. She can be abrupt at times, but understanding where she's coming from and knowing she's, again, a woman caught in a man's world, which in that time in the medical field women were, they were frowned upon, looked down upon, mocked, and she really does stand up for herself. And Will supports her. He really is a fantastic sidekick, and he understands her. He tries to see things from her perspectives, and he is quite open to all, and by that he'll mix with anyone. He'll is quite a calm influence on Jem and others around her. And as I said to begin with, he does inadvertently find himself falling into Jem's world when he least expected it. But I think he was just jaded by the job he does as well, being a surveyor and the mundane life of London back in the day. I think he enjoyed the excitement of solving crimes with her and experiencing the underworld of good old London town and stuff. And there's some wonderful interacting characters as well. You have Mrs. Speedycut, who is a cook to begin with. I think she's like a cook in some kind of meat. In like a meat shop, if I remember right. And she is so sassy. She is so cutesy. Her bark's worse than a bite, and she stands no messing off nobody. She will give as good as she gets, and she doesn't care who she argues with or picks fights with or and all that. She's a wonderful character. And you have Mrs. Rose Plucker, who is a brothel owner, and the way she describes her, her working girls, ladies of the night, if you like, is, I think she calls acrobatic. Oh, she calls them, no, she calls them acrobatic virgins, if I remember right. And she is a fantastic character. She enjoys doing reading. She enjoys reading like Penny Dreadfuls, and she enjoys reading Victorian detective stories of the day. And she follows the series in a penny newspaper she's addicted to, and she's wonderful. I absolutely love Miss Rose Plucker and Mrs. Speedycut. And you do have connecting characters as well. I think one's named Gabriel, who works in the apothecary with Jem and Will. And there's a female character as well. Oh, I can't remember her name. She's a sweet girl. She's lovely. And again, there's other characters that come into it as well, who are very, very well written characters. And yeah, again, a fantastic series of books. I didn't want to go into too much detail again because I don't want to spoil anything for anyone who will be interested in reading Elaine's books. Because when I do natter on, I can tend to give spoilers, although I don't mean to. It's just that I get that involved in talking about the books and the stories and the characters and the visuals, the scents, the smells, the surroundings, the settings, that when I say it feels like you're actually there, I could talk for days about it. So I'd rather let the readers discover these wonderful stories and fantastic, you know, um, tales themselves, all for yourselves. Um, Elaine, is a wonderful author. I really enjoy her stories. I enjoy her world building, her characters, her writing. I can't stress enough how it feels when you're reading. It really is an immersive reading experience. And the way she describes the the layout of the land, as I said, the sense of the day, the the speech of the day, the way the characters talked, the way they interact with each other, and and it feels like you're actually there. You're actually with these characters in their world and working alongside Will and Jem, and you can just picture yourself working or being alongside Will and Jem, the apothecary, or when they're going, to crime scenes and come up with theories and, suspicions and things like that. And you can just picture yourself in the apothecary and a chinwag, Mrs. Speedycut, and while she's sipping a gin and, a little touch of gin wouldn't take you, like, but I think I'll try a tea, as long as you don't put anything in it. and that, so it'd be wonderful to hang out with Mrs. Speedycut, because the sass off her tongue, you couldn't keep up. It would be best to be on your very best behaviour around Mrs. Speedycut, because she packs no punches, and she would definitely put you in your place. Mrs. Rosebrook, I know I keep going on about it, but she is adorable. She is a madam, like, as I say, of the brothel, and the way she talks about her girls, and especially being like virgin acrobats. She virginal acrobats or something like that. She's hysterical, but she's very aware. She's very astute, if you like. She's you find her foreboding at first, I think. I don't know if foreboding is a word, but you find her to be very aloof to begin with, but under that hard shell, she's got a heart of gold, and she I think she likes Will. She totally likes Will, and she really is a soft-hearted person underneath that that rouge and heavy lipstick, and underneath the frills of her dresses and stuff. She's got a heart of gold, and I say they are fantastic books. Very much enjoy them, and I'm hoping one day that Elaine will write another Jem Mill book. Fingers crossed, because I do miss them. I'm not gonna lie, I do miss being in Jem's world, but obviously Elaine's got other projects to she's working on. And in fact, let me just oops if I can just reach over. Sorry about that. So now I've discussed, in my own little way, about the Jem and Will books. Again, them wonderful reads. Which brings me to Hawthorn. which is a new series of stories about, written by Elaine. This is the first one of a Seasonal Quartet series, and that's the cover. A beautiful gothic cover, haunting cover. So this one is Caithness, October 1871. The Ordnance Survey are charting Scotland's most remote northeasterly county, a bleak landscape of endless moorland and lonely crofts. When a strange vision leads cartographer Robert Sutherland out onto the moor, an accident leaves him inches from death. He is taken to Lee's house to recuperate under the care of Mrs. Sinclair and her beautiful daughter Isabel. At first, Robert thinks the dreadful visions that plague him at Lee's house are the result of the laudanum he has been prescribed. But as events take ever stranger and more terrifying turns, Robert begins to wonder whether his presence at Lee's house is really a coincidence at all. Someone or something has summoned him here, and they don't intend for him to leave. A wonderful introduction to the Seasonal Quartet. Very gothic, very haunting, atmospheric, and with all Elaine's books and stories, they do make immersive reading experiences. Again, I don't want to give too much away in regards to the story and what happens. As you can see, I've read it off tab here, but it's very, again, atmospheric. It makes you feel uneasy at times, and there's very tense situations, and like, we just have you, peeking over your shoulders or between your fingers from time to time. It is a beautifully written book. The next one is out next month, and that one's called Saltwater. So I will definitely be getting me a copy of that, and I'm very much looking forward to that one as well. But again, if you enjoy gothic, thrillers, if you enjoy Victorian stories with atmosphere, with intensity, with fantastic characters, then you cannot go wrong with the Jem Flockheart series of books. They are amazing reads. I enjoy them. In fact, I think I've read Blood with Poison and Dark Asylum 2 or 3 times, and that because without saying I enjoy all the stories, but I think I read these two or 3 times, and with each book the stories get that much darker, much more intense, and more vivid in the reading experience. And as I said before, there's like interconnections, intertwining stories throughout. And with, obviously this is the start of the Seasonal Quartet of stories. And it really was a fantastic start. Very gothic, very tense, very, a sense of foreboding at times, especially when it comes to on the moors and the desolate, the quiet, the, yeah, you mean open natural beauty, but at the same time, you just get a sense of unease that nothing is quite what it seems in Leask itself. And the people who live there are quite secretive, quite enclosed and secretive community people. And there is some gentle humour at times as well. They're a very very creepy read, very creepy read at times, which is fantastic. Loved it. And with that being said, so I'm not sure if I showed you or not, that's Hawthorn. Again, beautiful gothic, stunning cover. And with all that being said, now I come to the end of the video, and just overall thoughts that if you enjoy Victorian novels, if you enjoy the gaslit cobblestone streets of good old London town and the isolation, the sense of, the sense of what's to come and all's not what it seems, and the open wilderness of Scottish moorlands, then I thoroughly recommend Hawthorn. I very much recommend Elaine Thomson's or E.S Thomson's works. Fantastic author. Throughout the Jem books, as well as so far in Seasonal Quartet, and I can't see my mind being changed anytime soon. Literally 5 stars out of 5 stars, 5 stars out of 5 stars, 5 stars, so on and so forth. 5 stars all the way out of 5. And with that being said, I thank you for watching. I thank Elaine Thomson for her excellent stories, world building, characters, enjoyment to the stories, friendship. She is wonderful, and I'll always support her work. From the get-go, when I first read Blood Be Poison, I've been a fan ever since. Straight across the board, a fan ever since. I've enjoyed all of her stories, and I will continue to support her. I will continue to enjoy her work, and I'll continue enjoying my time in these wonderful worlds. So, thoroughly recommend it. Thoroughly recommend all of her books. And with that, thank you again for watching. Happy reading. Happy, time out with books, cups of tea. And if you like this sort of thing, then please give Jem Flockheart a chance. And she's a wonderful character. She's a very much a woman of her time, and her connection with Will and the ongoing characters throughout is an absolute joy to read. And please give Hawthorn and the and the Seasonal Quartet books a chance as well. You can't go wrong, and it's the fantastic books. Take care. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again in my next video. Bye for now. Bye bye.